Hi, welcome to Monterey's Cooking. I'm Cookin Pisto and my friend William Rice. Bill,
John?
Welcome to Monterey. Welcome to our set here.
Couldn't be happier to be here.
Folks, William Rice comes to us from Chicago. He's with the Chicago Tribune. Before that, he's been in New York with Food and Wine magazine, and before that in Washington, D.C. with the Washington Post. Bill is a tremendous cookbook author, folks. He has just come out with the incredible book on steak. I mean, Bill, this, God bless you for writing this. It was really needed.
Thank you, John. I think so too.
This book is broken down. He talks about different kinds of, well, you tell us about the book, Bill. You know.
Well, John, what I discovered, and I did some research, is there hadn't been a book written about cooking for about 30 years and about steak cookery. So the thought I wanted to do is capture the whole idea of the steak lifestyle. You know, when we go out to a steakhouse or something like that, it's more than just having a piece of meat. There's an aura there. There's nice. You're escaping. You're larger than life. You know, and the whole style and feeling goes around it. You want to have these wonderful big appetizers. There are always these great vegetables at a steakhouse, and the rich desserts, and maybe a cognac or a cigar or something like that afterwards. And this all comes together into making you feel good and making you feel as though your cares are put away for a little bit. You know? So I tried to capture that between the pages so people can replicate this sense at home.
Yeah. You know, I sense personally that I crave the steak. You know,
that's the word, craving. People get a craving for meat. They really do.
And you start thinking about it, and you see it on the plate, and you know, I mean, nice, thick, juicy steak, and the smell coming off of there, and the crunch on the outside, and just cutting into. I mean, you crave that. At least I do.
Oh yeah,
you know?
but then you also crave the stuff that goes around it. You know, you want to start out with maybe a real nice dry martini or something like that.
Now let's really talk about it. Wait a minute. Now, there's a ritual about having a good steak. Now, you talk about it here, okay, and it's before the steak, and you prepare your stomach for it. Now, tell us about the martinis.
Well, there's actually, it's funny because I think that there's a combination of nostalgia for times past that's sweeping over the country right now, and secondly, people who are feeling pretty good about themselves. You know, they've had a good week, so Friday, let's go have, let's go to the whaling station and have ourselves a really good steak. But the first thing you want to do, because you know what you're going to eat, so you don't have to think about that a lot, so you relax. Right. And to me, the great relaxation is a very, very well-made cocktail. And I have recipes for several in the book, but the one everybody always asks about is the martini cocktail.
Yep, that seems to be the one.
And the martini, well, look at the head up here. You know, I've been around a while, and so I'm a gin martini man. Yep. But more and more popular is the vodka martini, and there's some wildly creative vodka martini spin-offs being done these days. But I still think that the gin martini is the ultimate, and I've got a recipe for it in the book, along with a whiskey sour, along with a number of other great cocktails.
Manhattan is another good one. The
Manhattan is, we've got a recipe for Hemingway's favorite daiquiri in the book, and so on. But the whole point of all this is as you say, to just kind of gear down and relax and get in the mood for that steak that's going to come up. And increasingly in steakhouses, you know, when we were young, you went to a steakhouse and the waiter would say, you want red wine, you want white wine, and that was it. That was the choice. But at your place and the other great steakhouses around the country today, you've got the best wines in the world available to have with your steak. So it's a real nice mood enhancer, I think, to have this.
I think steaks are definitely back. I mean, we're seeing it at the whaling station. People are ready for steaks, and the important thing, and my feeling is that they want to have the best steak. You know? And the aging now. Let's talk a little bit about aging.
Because the point of the book is to help you recreate this mood at home. I mean, this is a cookbook for people to do at home. There is a section in there that talks about great steakhouses around the country, but we're talking to home cooks at this point. Mm-hmm. John, one of the things I'm really excited about, though, is your viewers may not know it, but I've got one of your recipes in the book.
Yes, I know. And thanks for doing that, by the way. Yeah, we call it the beef roll-up. It's actually a spadini. But you know what? Today we're going to show you how we make that. So let's get in the kitchen and let's knock it out. Boy, those martinis sound pretty good.
I think we're relaxed enough to try a dish from your repertory.
Okay.
This is this thing that you convinced me is the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, you know, it's an old Italian dish. It's made usually with the lesser cut of meat. What I've done though is I've kind of upgraded the recipe, and I'm using tenderloin or filet mignon or.
Exactly. The tenderloin has got a lot of different names, but it's got the least fat of any cut of meat. And it's so soft and malleable that you can use it. You can make it do almost anything you want to, which is I think what you want here. You're going to use it as a wrapper essentially.
Exactly, right. And when you said least fat, unless you're using prime, and then it's pretty well marbled. But yeah, exactly what I'm going to do. These are we call them beef rolls. Italians call these spadini, being the spida, and these are quite easy to make. Doesn't take much, but let's do the flour first, or the breadcrumb mixture. We're going to stuff it with some breadcrumbs, and what we're going to do is fry the breadcrumbs to get some flavor in there.
Yeah. And we're dealing again, aren't we, with cuisine from a poor country, so they made use of what they could get. So,
well, you know, Sicily, what they did, Bill, they saved everything, you know,
Yeah.
as in all countries where things are a little tough, and Sicilians can fix breadcrumbs more ways. I mean, they've even used it for cheese. And if you fry it, the flavor
you get
comes
cheese
out.
flavor?
It's
Fantastic.
almost. I mean, but what they've done is they really developed the technique, and a lot of Sicilian dishes, everything, you know, breaded. So
yeah, and that's really to add flavor.
It does. I mean, you'll taste this after.
Yep.
It's going to taste very good. You see, I put some olive oil in there. What we want to do is just make it moist. We just want to cook these just a little bit.
But you have these sort of wonderful Mediterranean ingredients that are going to get into this, right? You're using pine nuts and raisins. The Sicilians do that a lot, don't they? They fruit with meat.
Well, it's the.
What is that, John?
This is called my mallet. This is my hammer. So very gently pound this out. Very, very, very gently. Okay, and get your fingers out of the way. Now, sometimes, you know what I do too is I put a little water on there, and I'll make it spread out a little bit.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, works much better. And people can do this at home. It's not too difficult. You're kind of pushing while you're hitting,
well,
right?
You know,
you don't want to tear the meat.
You see what I'm doing? If you want to put a piece of plastic over that, you can.
Plastic wrap, yeah.
And that'll work. Keep that from burning. And okay, we just pound it out. That's pretty easy.
Incidentally, one tip I pass on sometimes, with something like breadcrumbs, if you burn them, throw them away and start again, because you'll never get rid of that bitter flavor.
You're absolutely correct. That's a very good idea. Good tip. Okay, real careful with this fillet. But this is the least used muscle of the animal. Okay, so we just want to see how these are browned.
Yep.
That's all we want to do.
They're golden.
Golden brown. Now turn that off. Now we'll add the cheese to it. Some
breadcrumbs and cheese.
Breadcrumbs and cheese. And now we're soaking some bay leaves. Now you can use fresh bay. I didn't have them. And then we pumped up some. I used currants. In fact, that's what they use in Europe and Italy a lot. Is especially in Sicily.
Yeah.
But
so the water just softens them up and makes them.
Okay. Then we're going to put a little bit of flat leaf. It's nice that they're growing this stuff now.
Oh yeah, what a difference. I mean, the curly parsley has no flavor.
Absolutely nothing. It's nice to see that.
Beautiful color.
Yeah, the color's nice. And then we add, of course,
garlic.
A little garlic. And
John, I knew this was your recipe when it came in, and I saw garlic called for 2 different times in the ingredient list.
boy, I start using garlic, and man, and then all of a sudden it became very healthy for you. Well, again, the Mediterranean diet, you know, just is, everything tastes good. It just tastes good.
Well, and what's fun here, you're taking all these sort of primal ingredients and you're going to make something that's really quite elegant.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to start assembling these meat rolls on skewers. Okay, so we're going to need some onion, and this is going to add flavor to the dish by flavoring
That's
the
the
meat.
quick way to peel an onion, right?
Yes. Just cut them little pieces like that, and then I need these scallions.
Scallions.
Scallions and or green onions. East Coast, they call them scallions, right?
They call them scallions.
I often wonder, what the heck is a scallion?
And you're using the scallions?
And the scallions we're going to put inside the roll.
Ah, okay.
Now, which steak does the butcher eat?
Which steak does the butcher
I
eat?
wonder. I bet it's a rib
I'll tell you
steak.
though, the consumers eat, the leading cut of steak in supermarkets is sirloin, and in restaurants it's the tenderloin.
Is that? Yep, you're right. We sell a lot of them. Yep, you're absolutely correct. You know what's very popular now is we're serving at Kansas City, which is a New York with the bone still
Yes.
in it. My God, that's very popular. That's a nice cut too. You know,
sure is.
I like my. What's your favorite cut?
My favorite cut?
Yeah.
The porterhouse.
Really? All
Yeah.
right, good. I like the rib steak.
The rib is
And
great.
I
the
like
rib is great.
No. Who was
See, I
it?
can't make up my mind. And the beauty of the porterhouse is I get some filet and I get some strip on the same steak.
Who was it? There wasn't it James Beard that said, when you're cutting out a steak with the bone in it, cut the bone out and then save it for yourself.
That's
for
right.
later.
The first thing you do is cut the meat away, put the bone up for yourself.
that was cute.
Of course, he also wrote that an average serving of steak per person ought to be about a pound.
Hey, that's my man. It has to be. Okay, see, I'm putting a little bit of oil on these, just a little bit. Okay, then we're going to season it. Okay, and I do 3 at a time. See, the regular. Okay, then.
So not too much.
Well, it's not going to roll too much. So,
Right.
if this is like the Italian braciole, even, you know, this really gives it the flavors. See, then we put. This is a little Japanese influence.
Well, the world is getting smaller.
But it is getting smaller, isn't it?
Oh, I see. That's pretty.
Okay, see, that's.
Yeah.
Now we could trim it up if we want, but I'm not going to. I kind of like it uneven. You know,
But if you were doing this with the round steak, you'd have to braise it for quite some
Yes.
time, wouldn't you? And cook it. You're going to get a different.
Because, geez, we were at my aunt's house in Sicily, and she made us miniatures. I mean, they were like my fingers.
Wow.
And she had just little tiny pieces of meat like this, and just rolled them. I mean, they were so delicate. I mean, it was very well done. But you know, I like to do things in a little bigger scale. See how nice these look?
Very pretty.
So we got that one.
So how much meat are we using to create these altogether?
This was, I think this is our 12-ounce cut. So
But you didn't use a whole.
I used that whole piece. Actually, I should have gotten one more, so we could have had 2 servings out of that,
Or 3,
or
depending.
possibly 3. So a little salt. Then we give it the breading again. So it's very easy. Whoops, onion. Now this, I did this dish for, I was doing a cooking demo in Kansas City at the American Place.
Oh yeah, beautiful place.
And this is what I cooked for them. And I did a bunch of Italian appetizers, and it was quite good. I really enjoyed it. And of course, I had to go find out about Kansas City barbecue.
Barbecue. I thought you were going to say that.
Was it Bryant's? Is that
Sonny Bryant's
Sonny
is still-
Bryant's and.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Sonny Bryant's. That's Arthur Bryant's in Kansas City.
Okay.
Sonny Bryant's is in Dallas.
Okay, all right. And of course, we had to find out about the steaks. And
Oh, Kansas City, good
nice
eating
city.
town.
What a good town, huh? Clean. That
Yeah.
they had that one garden district, I think it was. Beautiful town too. Kansas City. A lot of Italians there. Okay, now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna skewer that. Now, when this is a little secret here. You see this, the side?
Yeah.
Okay. What you want to do is hit that, because that'll keep it from unraveling. But
Oh, I see. Right where the fold is. Yeah.
this will hold its shape pretty good, actually. So what we're going to do is I put a bay leaf and a little piece of onion, and then we put another skewer.
And you can do this either indoors under the broiler or outdoors on the grill?
Geez, on the grill, it's delicious. And this works real well. These are so
these pans are
handy.
wonderful.
Aren't they the handiest things in the world?
I like them very much.
I bet in wintertime in Chicago, you can't barbecue. You must use your
certainly
pans
can't.
like
We do
crazy.
this. The great problem is to use this and not have your smoke alarm go off. Now you could do all this ahead of time, can't you?
Oh yeah,
Have it ready to go.
perfectly. I mean, it's really. Then I'm gonna say I can thread some more. See, the bay leaf, believe it or not, now this is really gonna add some flavor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's real subtle. But use it fresh if you can. And if you don't, I soak these in some water.
That's a good idea because
Yeah.
they crack otherwise. They crumble.
Exactly. That's pretty easy. Then, could be a little bit longer, but that's okay. That works. Did you get that last one in there? Okay, good. Now what you got to do before we cook this is rub it with a little oil. Okay. And then what I do is I put a little breadcrumb on there
haven't
because
seen
I
that
like
before.
it to be burnt. And what it'll do, this will give some flavor to it. And when we come back, we're gonna cook this and we're gonna make a sauce for it. Okay, Bill, you see, don't forget, you gotta put this breadcrumb on there. Make sure your grill's hot. And the flavor's created
so
from
it's
the
just
smoke.
gonna give you the yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
If they're not hungry before they smell this, they're going to be hungry when they
You
do.
bet. This is gonna really throw off some beautiful smell. I'll tell you.
But I was asking, John, you
Yes.
could do this as well under a broiler in a home kitchen?
Absolutely. But I think it's best, you have to have the, I think this is the way to do it.
Yeah,
Of course,
you live in
barbecue.
Monterey, so of course it makes sense
Yeah.
to cook out of doors.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a little sauce, and while I'm making that, geez, we should talk some more about the steakhouses. I mean, being from the East Coast, man, they just really have some atmosphere to them, don't they? I'm talking about what's the one in New York, the Homestead?
Oh, the old homestead
That's,
downtown, yeah.
Just
Well, what's intriguing, John, about steakhouses is that they really fall into different categories, but all of them are finally very American. And your favorites would be the Italian-type steakhouses, which started in New York in the Prohibition days.
Wow.
And where you get the steak with a side of pasta and the cup of red wine, and it was a great, because every Italian was related to a butcher, and so they did these things like speakeasies, and that's how the Palm got started, which is probably the most famous of that type.
Now that's a chain. It's chain, right?
Chain.
Yeah.
It is now, yeah.
And high quality.
Very high quality, but Italian waiters that are kind of rude to you. There's no printed menu.
What's that all about?
But it's great.
now?
It's a gimmick.
Is that part of it?
But then you get the cowboy type steakhouse, and the Kansas
Western.
City, where you were, a lot of those places originated. The Hereford House and places like that. With they'll have the antlers up on the wall, and everybody's wearing cowboy boots and so on. And they tend to serve a pretty informal type of thing. They'll serve the great steaks, but they'll serve beans and coleslaw and side dishes like that.
What's the classic potato that goes? I know I experimented with potatoes, and back east, what are they?
Well, see, there again, you get into the type of steakhouse. So the third type that's so important is the sort of the club-like steakhouse, where it's almost like a private club. And there, clearly, what Morton's is of Chicago, get in a plug for Chicago, probably the start of that type. And there you're going to get a big baked potato.
Wow.
But you'll get home fries in the cowboy style, and the Italian style. You know as well as I. Sometimes they'll make a potato hash with some peppers and stuff in it.
Oh boy.
But mostly pasta.
Wow.
But
okay, this is the sauce I made for it. That little somebody give just a little.
what'd you do?
Just a little water, a little oil, little garlic, and parsley, and that's it. And this, I mean, this works. This works. Again, this is a frugal sauce.
Oh, it sure is. It's unbelievable. Nothing to it.
It's delicious. Now these are cooking
look at
up
the
nice.
color. Yeah.
See how they got a nice little.
And this doesn't take long at all because the meat's so thin, right?
And you want these rare. You know, you don't want to eat these well done.
The other thing that to keep in mind is with a steak is what type of steak is it? If it's a chewy steak, it's going to be in your mouth for a while. You want to get a peppery, fuller-bodied wine like a Côte de Rhône or a Zinfandel. But if you're going to have filet like this, then it cooks quickly. I mean, and it also chews quickly. So that's when you get your elegant, your Merlot, your Cabernet.
Okay, well, maybe we could try both.
That's a good idea.
Okay, this is, you see, all I'm doing is just bringing it to a boil.
Just right over there.
And you're going to make sure you get the
that's
garlic.
Gorgeous.
I mean, this is Sicily, folks. So, I mean, that's pretty darn easy. So, there you have it. This is from the book. This is a good one. How's it smell?
Gorgeous.
Doesn't that smell good?
Perfume.
Everybody's waiting for this. Okay. I hope you enjoy it. And thanks, Bill, for coming on.
My
Really
pleasure, Jim.
having
Thank
you.
you.